Okay, hello, and thank you for listening to Educating with Ease, a new podcast on all your podcast platforms with Superintendent Dr Bauer and Communications Media Specialist, Mr. Bob Gilmer. Bob, why don't you join me? Hop in. Let's bring you in early.
Boom, I'm in.
There we go. You're actually coordinator of Communications Media. I called you specialist. Sorry, my apologies.
That's all good.
All right. So as an intro here, we are in the almost last week of October. It's October 23rd that we're recording this. It'll be out on all the major platforms soon thereafter. Going to give a shout out to young Brady Bauer. My son turns 11 tomorrow on October 24th.
Yeah, happy birthday, Brady. All right.
Yeah, so he is a fifth grader and last year of elementary school in the Bauer household. But anyway, great fall weekend, a weekend full of youth sports. My daughter had lacrosse. My son had baseball. How about you, Bob? What'd you do this weekend?
I did a 0.5K this weekend. 0.5K this weekend.
I've never heard of such a thing. Do tell.
So Lansdale, Borough Discover Lansdale, they always have awesome events. And I should give a quick shout out to Lansdale because they're always doing great community events for people to come on out. So they're doing a fundraiser for the freight station, which is on Broad Street near the railroad tracks there, that the Lansdale Historical Society, Discover Lansdale, they're working on making that a center for Lansdale history and the area history. So it was a 0.5K. We started at Vine Street there, and it's 0.5 miles past the library to the freight station. So you start with a beverage and you end with a beverage, and in the middle you get a pretzel and a beverage. So there wasn't a lot of running. There was enjoying the day. It was nice and breezy. People did dress up. We had some people dressing up. We had some Batman and Riddlers and Ghostbusters. There's a guy who had a full Ghostbusters outfit that was pretty amazing. I did not dress up. I just dressed warm because I'm an old man and I don't like being cold. So long underwear, boots. That's how I did my 0.5K to go from one location to the other. It was a great Oktoberfest kind of activity there at the freight station. And they had a German band playing music. And it was a lot of fun. I really shout out to Lansdale for having a nice event.
Yeah, that sounds great. All for a good cause and spending time in the local community. I want to talk about local community and eateries and things a little bit later. We won't get into that yet. But last episode, we had Mr. Chris Fry on from North Penn High School, our CHIP coordinator for community hosted internship program. And we've had a couple principals. Today's guest is also a principal in the North Penn School District. But I guess this is her second year. It feels like she's been here forever, but it's only year 2 from Montgomery Elementary School. Dr.
Bauer, you hear that music?
Ooh.
That's her theme music. So I'm going to slide out. And as this theme music's kicking in, we'll bring her in.
Oh, we lost Bob's mic there because he muted himself. Dr. Marie Kim, welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us.
Hi.
What do you think of your theme music? Are you a fan?
I'm a fan, yeah.
Okay.
I like the upbeat sound.
Okay. All right. Not too tough of a crowd yet. So, Dr. Marie Kim, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? Let's start professional, and then we'll get into the fun stuff, personal. So, principal at Montgomery Elementary School. What brought you to North Penn and Montgomery?
Sure. So, I wasn't a Pennsylvania raised sort of kid. I actually am from New York. Brought me to Pennsylvania just by marrying my husband, but I was an assistant principal for about 11 years, and then I was a principal in another school district, another Montgomery County school district for 5 years, and then I came here to North Penn. I am a North Penn parent myself, so I was getting a lot of the updates from North Penn, the superintendent's letters, the information from the school. And I was really attracted to the focus on cultural proficiency, equity, and inclusion. Things like that really I'm passionate about. So I started looking into North Penn, and here we are. Here I am at Montgomery.
Yeah, fortunate for us. So you said you're a North Penn parent. Which school do your kids attend? You don't need to say their names if you're not comfortable.
Sure. I have a 5th grader, Bridal Path, and then I have a 2-year-old. So
okay.
Really big age difference. I'm in totally different stages of, children's lives here.
Yeah, but it's fun regardless. All right. So now we touched on your family a little bit, and you mentioned that your husband brought you to this area, or the fact that you married your husband brought you to this area. Where in New York?
Long Island.
Okay. All right. So are you a Philadelphia sports fan, or are you a New York?
I am. I
Okay.
am by marriage, so yeah, I'll follow all the teams, and I have. My husband says I do have all the shirts for everything.
Okay, got it. And does he originate from this area?
He does. He was a North Penn grad.
Oh, really? I did
Yeah.
not know this. Okay, well, great. All right, so tell us a little bit more about Marie Kim outside of the professional workplace. What are your interests? What do you like to do for fun? That kind of stuff.
I would say, right now I am my kid's Uber driver. So that's what I do like on my own free time. But if I do have some time on myself, I do like to read. I'm a really avid reader. I'm always with a book, digital. I actually just like the actual feel of a book. So I do that a lot. And then I do run. That's like my decompression. I like to run. I'm kind of strange. I like to run at the end of the day.
Interesting.
I know people use running as an energizer, but I like to use it like as an end of the day decompression, sort of clears my mind.
I'm not sure I have ever, and because I was a swimmer growing up, and it was like always in the water at 5:30 a.m. So it's always like a first thing for me. I've never exercised just before bed.
Yeah, and I think that might be because I'm not a morning person. I like to wake up right at the second snooze button. So I'm like more of a night person. I like doing things at night. I stay up late, so
What's
that's
late?
why I'm running. Late as 11.
Okay, that's pretty late. Yeah, I go to bed early, but I get up really early. So I go to bed 10:30. I get up at like 4:30.
Oh, yeah. No.
Yeah, not you.
No.
Okay. All right. So tell us, how are things at Montgomery? Second
really
year here?
good. Really good. I think the transition here was just so smooth. The parent community is strong. The teachers are amazing. So last year it felt like a really smooth transition. I feel like, as you said, I feel like I've been here for a really long time. It felt like home right away. So we're in our second year, and we're just refining all the things all the good things that were happening last year. We're just refining it, and it's been a wonderful start to the school year.
That's really great to hear. So you've worked in multiple school districts, and obviously you're aware that we have 13 elementary schools. What would you say sets Montgomery Elementary apart? Not better, just sets apart from the other 12 schools in North Penn or other schools where you've worked?
I think the partnership with the parents and the community is just something I've never really experienced before. I've worked with, in schools where the Home and School Association was really strong, and people were involved. But I feel like here it feels like a partnership where they're doing really good work to support all the things that we want to focus here at Montgomery. Like for example is last year, they did a lot of work with each grade level had a community service project. So they worked a lot on things that they could provide back to the community. One grade level was creating these sensory bags to provide back to all the other different elementary schools, and just connecting our students to other students throughout the district as well.
Great. All right. Well, thank you for that background. Let's bring Mr. Gilmer back on here. Oh, and I failed to mention, for those who watch the show, hopefully you can see a difference, but those who just listen, hopefully you can hear. Bob hooked me up with a new microphone. Look at this. Like, I'm a real podcaster now. Look at this,
Nice.
Bob.
Sounds good. The bassy tones of Dr. Bauer coming through loud and clear.
Yeah, we were both a bit dissatisfied with the sound quality from my laptop, so he got me a microphone. My understanding is you actually watched, what is it, New Heights?
Yeah, with the Kelsey brothers. I'm like, what are they using? Well, that's a nice mic. That's not expensive. Huh.
So I have a new mic, and hopefully you're enjoying the sweet sounds of nothingness. Okay, all right, Bob. let's talk. Last week's episode with Mr. Fry, you brought up a new segment. Why don't you tell the listeners who missed that episode? Nobody misses, but if they did, what was the segment?
Time for some small wins, little tiny wins, something in your day or your week that just, you're like, thank you for that today. I'm so happy. I'm going to start with my small win.
Wait, let's pause. Pause. We need the sound effect for small wins. That segment needs a theme song or an intro.
Oh, it's been going.
Oh,
I just had it too low. Now it's full now. You got it now?
You. Okay.
I got it.
All right, here's my small win. So this morning, Mrs. Fakish came in. She was excited. Mrs. Fakish is my partner here in the TV studio, and she said, I reloaded all my snacks. So she had snacks on her desk, great snack drawer. And she brought this in today, small win. Oh, I got to get it over there. Buttered toffee cashews. So she put them on my desk, which is not great because it's been open. And I've been eating buttered toffee cashews all morning. So thank you, Mrs. Fakish. That's my small win today. They're delicious. Anything cashew related, I'm in.
Small win for you guys. All day.
Yeah,
right?
I'm going to have to stop by the office there, Bob, and check out the butter toffee cashews. Jeez. All right, Dr. Kim, what do you got?
I would say, I talked about how I have a 2-year-old, and anybody who's ever lived with a 2-year-old, everything is a small win, or a big win, actually. So I just recently got her to wear a jacket outside and to transition from wearing sandals to socks and sneakers. So
that's 2 small wins.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big victory. Okay, so we got the jacket, the sandals. Love it. My small win is silly, but near and dear to those who attend Montgomery Elementary School. This weekend, I was driving on Friday night. I went to this awards ceremony thing at Del Valle University. That's where I got my doctoral degree. Believe it or not, I was nominated and received the Alumni Achievement Award for Graduate Studies.
Oh,
yes. I think, yeah, very honored.
Congratulations.
Thank you. No idea that someone nominated me, but it was a really special night to be there. My wife and I went, and they have this new farm-to-table restaurant called Terrain. Wow. Ugh, so good. If you haven't been, so good. But we'll talk more about that. However, in getting there, I went over the 202 bypass. I love the 202 bypass.
Yeah, I got to agree with the 202 bypass.
It's like driving down Kelly Drive down the city. Like, it's beautiful, right? This time of year, the leaves.
Oh, yeah, with the foliage. Yes.
Yeah, you have people on the walking path, people with dogs, families out exercising.
You get to see the back of Montgomery, which you never get to see unless you're on the 202 bypass.
Yes.
Yeah, it is great. I love the 202 bypass. And it's like, what's it been around 10, 11 years at this point? And it's like, it's always been there. I love it. So my small win this week is very ridiculous. It's a road, but I love the 202 bypass.
That's a huge win.
It's good scenery.
Yeah. Even my son, who is not like aware of his surroundings, he's a 10-year-old boy. He's like, Dad, this road's really pretty. I was like, yeah, bud, isn't it?
It is super pretty and ultra convenient because I go all the way back to the days where I'd have to go to Doylestown, and I'm taking 5 Points, 202, New Britain, up and down, and it's not a good drive from a traffic standpoint, and you get to Doylestown pretty quickly from North Penn area now.
So we love the 202 bypass. All right, I would like nice little
new segment alert. Is that what I'm hearing? Is there a new
a parlay? There we go. A new sound for our new segment. So I already gave mine away. However, I want to do local eats on the podcast too, because it's pretty. I guess discouraging. I really like to eat. I really like good food, and I wish I didn't like it so much. However, that Terrain restaurant made me think we should talk about good local restaurants. It can be a pizza place, it can be fine dining, it can be fast food. I don't care. Just recommendations from our guests and from you and I, Bob, of somewhere that you've eaten, whether it's takeout or eat in, and just local recommendations. So I recommended Terrain. There are a couple of them. Really, really good quality food. My wife loves food too. She's a little bit more of a foodie. She watches Food Network all the time and all that stuff. I just thought whatever was on my plate was delicious. So I highly recommend. Let's go to Dr. Kim next.
I would say locally, recently I've just been addicted to Grand Rodeo. Grand Rodeo has some really good Mexican food. And the one thing that I love getting is the carne asada fries. And if you've ever been to San Diego has food trucks everywhere of carne asada fries. And Grand Rodeo has some really good carne asada fries.
Tell me about where Grand Rodeo is.
So it's actually across from the Montgomery Mall. It's on Decal Pike across from the Montgomery Mall. And it is owned by a Bridal Path family. So
Maybe they could sponsor the show. Somebody,
there we go. At least sponsor our lunchtime meal as we're recording this.
Yeah, with snacks. Yes.
All right. So if you're a listener and you know this family that owns Grand Rodeo in Montgomeryville, Pennsylvania, please forward the episode. Nice plug. And they didn't even pay for this advertisement.
No.
Boom.
All right, Bob.
So I'm comfort food guy. So I'm going to go a little lower key, but I love the coconut shrimp tacos that are at Lansdale Tavern. They have tons of great food right there on Main Street, hamburgers, other kinds of sandwiches, cheesesteaks, all that kind of stuff. So it's tavern food, but they make this killer coconut shrimp taco. And every time I go, I'm going to get something different. I always go coconut shrimp taco every time. So thank you, Lansdale Tavern. You wouldn't expect a coconut shrimp taco there, but it's really good and it's easy, quick, and one of my go-tos when I don't know what else to do on a Friday night.
It's hard when you find something good to want to try something else.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to miss out on something that's so good.
Yes.
As
And
they
the
say,
times that I've tried something new, sometimes I just order my tried and true again. You know, you just get in the habit of things.
fill in the blank here. If it ain't broke,
Don't fix it. don't order it.
No, do order it, Bob.
Do order it. That's right. Yeah.
All right. So let's chat a little bit about, we like to bring in kind of the history of things and get to know one another. Let's talk a little bit about what brought each of us to education. Some of us have a more circuitous route. I have to imagine the individual here with a communications background wasn't necessarily shooting to be a teacher.
No.
So tell us a little bit about your background, Bob, and then we'll jump to Dr. Kim.
Yeah, sure. I could talk forever about how I got here, but I've been here for a long time, but I was hired here as a television producer. And so when I applied for this job, I was not thinking about education. I was not thinking about teaching. I was here to do a job, to build a television station, to build a crew and create programming for the North Penn School District. And that's what I did. And somewhere along the way, I need crews. So I have to teach my crew how to do things, and didn't realize I was a teacher till after I was doing it for a while. They were just my crew that needed to know things. And not to get into my full story here, I had left after I got married, went down to Atlanta, and I was at CNN for a little bit of time, and realized when I left being a teacher, which I didn't realize I was, how much I missed working with students and trying to get them to the same professional level that we're doing at network level at CNN, et cetera. So it was one of those things where for me, in high school or college, if you ever said like, you're going to be working as a teacher in the North Penn School District or anywhere, I'm like, I definitely was the guy who was like, those who can do, those who can't teach, right? I was one of those guys until I started working with kids. And I have continued to be inspired by the teachers that are around me, all of the educators, everybody that works here, how much they give so that students can learn and grow and make mistakes and learn from those mistakes and grow. It's just one of the most rewarding things I never thought I would do. And the funny thing is, my degree in college, I could have easily added a cert. Long story short, the communications department was in the education college. So I could have easily added a cert. I'm like, why would I do that? Why in the world would I get a teaching cert in communications? And of course, I spent a lot of money later to get that cert to become the official teacher here back in the day. But that's how I got here. And I thought I would just be a television producer, and I didn't realize that somewhere along the way I was an educator.
Well, that's an amazing story. We're so glad that you did. I appreciate that, Bob. Let's hear from Dr. Kim here. And I know you have your educational journey was a little bit different for a typical elementary principal, we'll say. So go ahead.
Yeah. People will get confused because if they look at my major in college, they'll wonder how I ended up in education. So in high school, I had volunteered for a special needs summer camp. So I always knew I wanted to be working with students with special needs. I knew I wanted to go into college to be a special ed teacher. But I spoke with a teacher who said, you're going to end up getting a master's anyway in teaching. Why don't you get your bachelor's in something that you're interested in? So I went to Pitt and I majored in philosophy and religious studies. And that was something that I was interested in. And so when you look at my resume, you think, this person, how'd you end up in education? But it was more of, that teacher that I spoke with, she just said, just broaden your horizons, major something that you're interested in, and then you'll go to get your master's in teaching, which is what I ended up doing. So philosophy and religious studies, and then special education right after.
Very, very interesting. Okay, I like that. Well, mine was kind of in between the two, I would say. I always had teaching on the brain, but it wasn't that I was 100% going to go into the profession. So my father actually owned a television repair business in the North Penn School District.
So you already.
I remember Bauer Electronics. And like I said, I used Bauer Electronics when I was here not so many moons ago.
Yeah. So my dad owned his shops where one was right there across from Giuseppe's, right at Calpath and Broad. There used to be a little strip mall there. Now it's there's a drugstore there and whatever. But he owned a television repair business there, and then one in the Weiss Shopping Center across from the high school. And he used to repair electronics. So I was always interested in what my dad was doing and maybe taking over his business. But when I went to college, I majored in math. And I was like, well, maybe I'll go my dad's route. Maybe I'll go the education route. I ended up student teaching my senior year and just loved it. So it was like, all right, that's it. Turns out I made the right decision. My dad owned his own business for 30 years, but we reached a point where televisions were disposable. They got so cheap that people just throw them out instead of fixing them. So he thrived for 30 years, and then all of a sudden the business fell off a cliff. Because TVs like that, they went from a plasma television being $8,000. 2 years later, it was $800. It's just very, very interesting how that kind of stuff works. So anyway, here we are. And I, like you, Marie, never saw myself being an administrator. I just took classes because I had to get a master's. And I ended up with an admin cert, and the right position came around and somebody encouraged me to apply. And then the next job came around and encouraged me to apply. And here we are. So I definitely circuitous. I loved every day as a classroom teacher, and I was coaching high school swimming. Every day was great. It is fair to say that not every day is great as a superintendent, but I still try to keep my eyes on, what's most important, and here for the right reasons, and just try to help kids and make an impact and all those things. So, all right.
Let me jump in there, Dr. Bauer, because you talked about, not every day is great. And I'm involved with the Del Val cohort we have here, where we're working with teachers who want to become administrators, and they're taking courses as part of a cohort at North Penn. And one of the things we often talk about, all the horror stories and like, how do you deal with conflict and all these things. And many times, people get really wide-eyed, like, why would anybody want to be an administrator? Because all the problems come your way. But there are, I don't even call them small wins, but like we talked about earlier in a different show, in a different format, at our last school board meeting, you had a moment there with a student who had done a project at one of our schools. And you could talk about that in a moment. And then Marie, like there are every day, and this is what I find, and I always say this, there's 13,000 amazing stories to tell every day. And not all of it's problem, deal with the problem, fix the problem, do this problem. So if there's a moment in the last couple of days or a week or this month or the start of the year for you, Marie, and Todd, if you want to share your story, of a moment with a student that you're like, this is why I'm here. And this is why I'll take every problem that comes across my desk all day long, because these moments is what matters more. So, Todd, I know you have your story. If you want to start with yours, and Marie, if you want to think about something that happened recently where you're like, yes, this is why I'm here.
Sure, I'll be happy to. I'm going to actually call an audible here, Bob, and I'm going to tell a different story. Just in case we have listeners who listen.
Who are actually watching both shows? Okay,
Maybe.
go for it.
Maybe, Bob. So this one is, it's always when you're a high school teacher or coach, and of course middle or elementary, but it probably happens more frequently at the high school level where you see kids come back, right? And they come talk to you. And I had a young lady, we'll call her Missy, who was a student who I taught in an AP calculus class, but I was also her swim coach since she was in middle school. And she was inducted into the Hall of Fame at Souderton. And Missy reached out to me to do her induction speech.
Nice.
And it was just really touching to do that. Well, she's now a math teacher and a coach, which is what I was. And when I introduced her and told stories about her, but then she turned around and kind of talked about how, she wanted to be like me. And the things that she spoke to, it's like everything you want a child to learn. She was like integrity, hardworking, kind, like all these things. And it was like emotional for me because in the moment you don't realize that kids are picking up on that stuff. But to hear a grown professional woman say this about me, oh, by the way, her kids are in the audience. It's just really, really special moment. I was so proud, certainly more proud of her, but to hear that she got that from my time spent with her was really touching.
Yeah, you never know what kind of impact you make on a child really and then they start talking about you, Yeah. Very nice.
All right, Marie, what's your story? What's a moment? It could be today. It could be last week. It could be whenever, but there's a moment where you say it's all worth it.
I would say I remember I'm at Carline in the morning a lot. So I last year was working with a kindergartner who had a lot of tears coming into the school building. So there were a lot of conversations, coaxing the child to come into the building. And then I remember talking to the parent earlier this year and seeing what a world of difference it has been at Carline. Just, he comes to the door, he comes out the door, walks right to his classroom with a smile on his face, just so excited to be at school. And what a difference a year makes. Last year was almost every week there were tears. But this year, just knowing that a year has gone by and the child has realized school is a great place to be, that's a small win.
It's not so bad here, right?
I would say that is not a small win, Marie. That's a huge win. Getting a kid to feel safe and cared for and loved and learning to love school and in turn learning itself, to love learning.
And feeling like he belongs here.
In line with the 4 E's.
Ensuring belonging.
There you go. Thank you, Marie. I love it. All right. Well, I think we've taken enough of your time. We try to keep these episodes roughly 30 minutes. So I think that's all we have for the listeners today, Bob. We have our segments. We hit on our small wins. A new segment, Local Eats. Can you hit that music again?
Here we go.
Oh, that sounds great.
There's a Local Eats.
Oh, what we didn't do was pause for station identification.
It's kind of odd to do at the end of the show, but let's pause.
Let's do it.
Wait. Everybody listen.
WNPV Lansdale.
Okay.
There it is.
I love it. I've always, Marie, if you haven't watched the episodes, it's like a dream. Because they say during Phillies games, let's pause for station identification. Just feels really good. All right. Thank you both so much. Dr. Kim, we're pleased to have you at Montgomery Elementary. Keep up the great work, and thanks for joining us on this episode.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Take care.